listening to the Contraritics Podcast, pushing back against the insanity of this world with arguments that may or may not work. And here's your hosts, Josh the Gun Nerd and Ian the Beer Nut.
Hey, it is a good day, and I don't know why, I just think it's a good day.
It is. Here. Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, yeah, we got a dead guy in the room.
Yeah, wow. It's sweet. But I always remembered, it's got a bitterness on the finish. So we've always been haters of the Dead Guy Ale.
Yeah.
But this is a new take, so why not try again?
Yeah, and I'm not impressed so far. So, it's totally drinkable.
So it is in their description. It is a Dead Guy Ale aged on oak, Dead Guy whiskey barrel chips. So they have a Dead Guy whiskey.
Yeah.
Which I actually haven't tried it. Have you tried it?
I've seen it.
Okay.
I think I've maybe tried it at a distillery thing years ago.
Yeah, so it's a 9.5 40 IBU, which you'd expect for something like this. Because is Dead Guy Ale? Well, it's an ale. Okay, so
yeah.
But it always seemed kind of lagerish to me, and it's kind of got tinge of sweetness, and there you go, Josh, touching the mic again.
Yep.
We're trying to transition to this video platform, and for whatever reason, the past couple of weeks, the camera that's been getting Josh has just said no.
I'm difficult.
Right. It's like, I'm going to stop recording after 12 minutes.
Yeah, I can't take this anymore.
So yeah, we're working on getting this whole thing set up, and the introduction of more light is kind of cool, but also like we're seeing if that raises the temperature in here.
Yeah, it definitely does. I stepped outside to look for a fan.
Yeah.
There's usually like 6 or 8 around, and I can't find any.
Yeah. Well, it kind of it's reminiscent of when we started this podcast down at our last house, and we had what was that room down there? It was similar to this, no circulation.
Yeah.
Because
with the sun beating on, whereas here we don't have any view to the outside world other than security cameras. But
because we would record in the evening, and by the evening time that room was facing west, and so the sun would just be beating on our face.
And it's also reminiscent as we're trying to figure out how to make this sound better. And our first podcast was in our condo with like super high ceilings, so it just sounded like we were across the room from each other.
Like in a bathroom or something. So we've come a long way.
Yeah.
It just took us
or full circle.
Yes. Yeah.
We've brought the element of heat and bad sound,
right.
all bad acoustics, I should say, into one thing,
Yeah, and then so inevitably that means leaving the door cracked, which depending on the time of day, who's here, might be a screaming child, might be one of our sons, just who knows. What.
Yeah, practicing their wild animal calls.
All right. Might be a wild dog, might be a chicken, rooster call.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're doing something.
Were you here? There was a gentleman here one time that I think was dropping off somebody to church, and he had a wild rooster in his pretty brand new, like Hyundai Santa Fe kind of a thing. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I looked outside, I saw a rooster go by the window, and I was like, where'd that come from? Must have come by somebody's house from close by,
right?
Which would be a little odd. No, it was more odd. It actually came from this guy's car, and I thought, okay, maybe he's just transporting it. That was last summer. I was at the gas station the other day. I was like, oh, that's a rooster in that. Oh, that's a red, Santa Fe. Like
yeah.
So apparently, his rooster hangs out with him a lot.
What?
And I can't imagine. Like, does he have it trained? Does it not poop in his car? No. I don't know that that's a possibility.
No, I don't think you train that.
Yeah.
No,
people small corks.
Oh man, I can't imagine trying to apply that, let alone the mechanics of.
Yeah.
I mean, what does a plugged up chicken do?
Wow. Yeah. Maybe we never find out.
I've never heard that joke actually.
Yeah. The white way the chicken crossed the road. We've definitely all heard that. What does plugged up chicken do? We've never discussed. I
think they start cockadoodling.
Yes, that's right.
And their voice cracks a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I know how that goes.
Yeah, chickens are not pets. I mean, I'm fine if you want to name your chicken. We have named occasional chickens, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, that chicken dies, and
yeah,
it's for us. They're for eggs. I mean, obviously, people can raise them for meat and stuff, but
speaking of food, maybe we'll go that route. What Canadian there?
What food?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what food? We were talking about it a little bit before. It's a conversation we have from time to time. But food, do your chickens need to be free range? Does your bread need to be all the glutens or free from glutens? Do your chickens need to be, raised under heat lamps with, their feet cleaned, on a regular basis after being given a massage,
yeah.
What level of your, what level is the food proclivities out there that,
Well, I think we have a mixture of things, that very confusing intro that you just gave.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of things going on there. So like one is like, I think there's a difference between like caring about principles. Like, okay, I do actually want healthy food for my kids, and I think that God cares about it. So what does that look like? But we also have the influence of just the population at large that always, I mean, I think with every generation claims they care about health and stuff like that, but that looks wildly different.
Yeah.
Every time that happens. So how do you approach that in a way that is that you're being a good steward of your family and your body, your family's bodies to as much as you can, because I don't think you're supposed to control them. It does depend on the stage that your children are at. You are supposed to be training them up, and so teaching them the things why they should want the right things. And that might actually look different, like they might not make the same choice for the same reasons, I know, Dad, you said...
I'm the boss of the kid stuff, so yes, ma'am. What did you say?
Mrs. Hall, I tell you.
I mean, that is the nature of recording with an open door.
Yeah.
You just never know where you're going to get.
You got to have an open door to all the sounds that can come in.
Right. Or we could just choose to sweat, but or we can wait for a couple seconds. But yeah, so that I was saying that even like you can explain to your son, let's say, the reasons why you're making this decision, and they can use the same reasoning and say, I know, Dad, and that's why I think I should do this. Now, if you lay down the law and you're like, no, for now, I want you to do this. And then as you get older, you can make your own decisions about what you want to do, depending on what age they're at and stuff like that. But the goal is to win them over in terms of actually caring in the right way. And that is more what I was saying. Like, I think we can easily care in a way that God doesn't actually care about it. That it's to a degree, or caring about the wrong things, or the right things in the wrong way.
Yeah. Where is the point where we're sinning in what if we're taking in a good thing, if it's not outlawed for us, we're not talking about snorting coke.
Right.
Oh no, I God says coke is bad, so I'm not gonna do it. Okay, yeah, there you go. But God does not say that a cheeseburger with no ketchup from McDonald's is sinful.
maybe you've come to the conviction that, the hamburgers aren't real meat and that's bad for your body and whatever. So you're going to condemn your brother because they're doing that? Like, are you going to, are you going to put this guilt upon them that they're sinning? Like, to what degree do you want to approach this? Yeah. I would think you'd want to approach it where if you really thought that was the case, you would like want to win them, and so you'd be winsome in that argument. Yeah. Rather than, I think that beeping was saying that it's restarting the video, but let me check it.
Good idea. Well, as we're learning how these things all work, and Ian is learning how to Catherine Zeta-Jones the wires that we have in our closet studio.
Yeah, we're good.
Right on. And he's back.
Yeah, I'm trying to like traverse wires, but I'm also wearing, like work boots and jeans, so it's like
you don't have your ballerina shoes on.
Yeah, I don't have my stretchy pants.
Sometimes two men just stand in the closet.
Right.
Wearing stretchy pants.
As one does.
Yeah.
In Marysville. Has nothing to do with Marysville, but
no.
I mean, they say keeping Portland weird. I mean, they could say
keep the recording closet weird.
Right. Keep Marysville weird. I mean, so yeah, like I think it is weird how we have this resurgence of like the whole like I guess it's some of the RFK stuff, not all, like, so skepticism towards vaccines, which I think can be healthy.
Yeah.
Getting away from seed oils, which
I want to know more about seed oils.
I don't know. We can shut it for a little bit while the McDonald's play place is happening out there. And the camera just moved. But
let me peek at it.
Well, yeah. This is the nature of operating in a closet where am I still in the okay.
Nope. Right in the box.
Yeah, cool. It's just the nature of operating in a tight space. There are other places we could record, but we haven't found.
Let's dual purpose the crap out of this little closet.
Exactly. Yeah. So finding how to put more things on the walls, less things down by our feet, but we'll figure it out. But so you have this resurgence of kind of the RFK stuff. I mentioned seed oils. Like so far. I've seen good arguments for why I should be skeptical about seed oils. I haven't been convinced that they are the death of me necessarily. Yeah. But when you look at the history of how they were developed and what they were developed for, like I think some of it started during World War II, and they were essentially using like linseed oil and stuff for lubrication of parts.
Okay. And then like, I wonder if we can eat this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when companies find that it's really cheaper to use a different product, you should be skeptical. Like, well, okay, it's cheaper, but is it good?
If we keep refining this natural substance into a plastic substance, or however it goes. I mean, it's like, have you heard of Van Man? It's like. Apparently a dude that used to live in a van. And,
I don't think so.
And he makes like soap and, made it with tallow and those kinds of things. And I've used some of this stuff.
Maybe I have. Yeah. Maybe I have. Because there's another guy with a similar handle.
Okay. Yeah.
I've run across, There
used to be Burt's Bees, and then it was bought out, and, it's all, bad stuff for you or whatever now.
It all ends up under the same 5 companies or whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
At the end of the day.
I really think that should be like a business plan for some people is I'll make this thing that, a big business will want to buy out so that I can fund the business that I really want to run. Like that, I think that's actually a great business plan. Don't be those ones that are like, I'll never sell out. Be one of those ones that are like, I'm looking to sell out because I want the big company to fund my little company so that my little company can be financed like a big company.
Yeah.
Go start your little, candle company or your, armpit scent company.
I don't think the world needs another candle company. I'm just saying. But yeah, sure. If you got a new angle on it.
Yeah, whatever it is to get, a big company to fund your little, totally go for it. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think...
just call it I Will Sell Out. That'd be a good company.
Or that doesn't even have to be the brand name, but the LLC that everything's
there
under.
You go. Yeah, the DBA can be like, homegrown candles by Jake or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, I think Poppy, the big soda brand, just sold out to Pepsi.
That makes sense because before they were saying we can't store it on a shelf because it's all natural stuff and it'll go bad, so it always has to be refrigerated. And now I'm seeing 40 ounces of Poppy that are sitting on the end cap of a grocery
was that
store.
I never heard that argument that they couldn't preserve it or like sugar. Like, isn't that shelf stable?
Yeah, it was I think because it's probiotic or prebiotic or whatever it is.
I know. I feel like those words get thrown around so much. I'm like,
do we know what they mean anymore? Is that actually like a marketing name?
Right, and I know what they mean, like, in terms of, like the natural process that takes place in like a kombucha or something. Yeah. But
is that actually in the soda?
What are they doing it in a soda? Like, how are they, like, is it partially fermented or like, because I think that's typically how you get those. I mean, like even with yogurt and stuff like that, like there's a partial fermentation process or something that's happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
lactic acid.
It's curdled milk, essentially, to some degree.
But then they have to stabilize it, so they have to kill off all that bacteria that they were trying to sell it for anyways.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and then you just look back and you're like, those people, people were living quite, the death rate was so high because of all the other things.
Yeah.
Dudes falling off of skyscrapers because they're just up there.
Jeez.
You see humping steel up 80 floors, with no safety.
Eating lunch on a beam that's hanging over New York City, and you're like, that's pretty badass, but also...
The attrition rates on those things are nuts.
Yeah.
Like how many men they lost building those things.
Yeah.
So it was actually, I think it was kind of, not earth-shattering, but a new thing for them to... when they did the Golden Gate Bridge and they put that huge net underneath it.
Yeah.
Because
they care about their employees. That's weird.
Hey, we were able to retain more employees.
Yeah.
From death.
Yeah. Literally retaining them from falling to their death.
I mean, and the dudes, the amount of dudes that died building the Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah.
It's a crazy story, but
yeah.
I mean, I tried to fact check it as much as you can on the internet, but I think the fact is that the first guy to die on the project was the father, and the last guy to die on the project was the son.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I think I've heard that too.
But a lot of dudes are buried in that concrete.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
That's a lot of concrete.
Well, it's an interesting thing how in a country that is founded on the Christian ethics, how there is a value to life. It's something that I noticed early on and not really putting it together, but I would look at third world countries and see if there was some sort of a mass casualty event, you would see, and for whatever reason I see this a lot in Asian countries, so I'm racist, but something would happen, like a flood or a building collapse, and you would see a unconscious body just tossed across a crowd of people, and there was no stabilizing the neck, there was no making sure that putting them on a backboard, none of that. It was just throwing a body. It was like crowd surfing with corpses, or maybe people that are in they're not being triaged. It's like, your leg's broken. Okay, we'll toss you across a crowd of people. Your spine is broken. Great. You'll probably be paralyzed. We're just going to toss you across a crowd of people.
Right.
Whereas like you look at the Western world and you see something like that happen, and it is like, get them on a backboard, stabilize the neck, but get them on a backboard, move them, in a way that they're not going to like pinch off their spinal cord or something like that.
Well, even, have you heard some of the conversations? I think they've happened on at least one space is Joe Rogan, and other spaces. I've seen video clips of it. I'm just talking about how we always point back to like polio and stuff like that as being abated by like the spread of it was majorly curbed by the vaccine. Like we've always been told that, but the data shows that it curbed way before the vaccine was even out. Yeah. And so like
the vaccine came when there had already been a significant drop in whatever the problem was.
Yeah. I mean, even so I'm not saying that vaccine has never been helpful, like because obviously we don't have things like the Black Plague, just wiping out huge amounts of the population. But also, was that something? I mean, there was a million other things going on in terms of sanitation.
Yeah, and like we don't have raw sewage going down the streets.
Right.
Like so that solves some problems. We've learned that like we sanitize to the point where people are also questioning, are we sanitizing everything so much that that's actually problematic, and we've got like diseases that are being built, turning
we have
stronger.
No immune system. Yeah. And so when you get out of your Amazon workspace bubble in downtown Seattle, then the world outside with bugs and dirt and stuff is like
harmful to you.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like there were a million other factors going into like why did disease spread so much, and why did it take out huge swaths of the population? There weren't any of the other measures that we found. This thing called germs, that is actually really helpful to know about. That besides poop just smelling bad, it actually contains things that can be really harmful to you, and as well as your urine.
Don't drink it or do.
Or
I don't know.
I mean, like Layla Bowers was talking about how the whole chamber pot situation.
Oh yeah.
And is that one?
Okay.
It restarts every 12 seconds.
Okay.
But how, like in London, they were more afraid of the water, like in the Thames River, than their own piss. Like they would.
That's crazy.
If they peed in the chamber pot, they would say a lot of like women would use it the next morning to wash their face because.
Wow.
It was more sanitary. It was considered more sanitary than the than what was in the river, because the river was horrible. Like all the raw sewage was going into the river. So I mean, pick your poison.
Yeah. Well, and that's not even a. I mean, it wasn't raw sewage, but there was commercial waste that was being dumped into. I don't know if it was the Ohio River or a river in Ohio, but that like as early as like or as more recent as like the 70s or 80s, like it would just burst into flames from time to time. Like, can you imagine just seeing a river just spontaneously?
Oh, there you go.
I thought that was water in there, but apparently it's not,
Every time my dog goes down there.
Yeah, he comes back with his hair singed a little bit. But, like, you think about it, and I haven't been to Ohio because until recently I haven't found the reason. There is Creekside Cigar Company. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
I actually want to fly to Ohio just to check out their business model because it just looks awesome. Some church dudes that want to serve their community with a cigar bar. But like I was going back to, I haven't seen Ohio. I haven't been there that I can recall. But apparently the river, you can swim in it now and you won't spontaneously combust.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's been in the last 50 years. That's progress. So like, you always hear these things. There's an oil spill, and this part of the land will never recover, or it'll be 1,000 years before it recovers. Interestingly enough, like God builds things to take care of that.
Yeah, and even can we solve once and for all, is wine okay to drink or not? I mean, are you going to die?
Wine, coffee, and chocolate.
Right.
1 week it'll kill you. That's
and
what it
the
is.
eggs.
Yeah, eggs. Oh yeah, yeah. Your cholesterol eating eggs.
Well, have you seen that video where?
So you got a month to 4 weeks to just decide if what you're going to eat is going wine will kill you this week, but it won't in 3 weeks, and then coffee will kill you, and then it'll heal you, and then you need to eat a dozen hard-boiled eggs a week, no salt. Sometimes it's with salt,
right? Sometimes
it's with pink salt. Sometimes it's with sea salt from the top of a mountain.
Yeah, pink salt, Himalayan pink salt. Is it Himalayan? Whatever. The Himalayan salt has huge amounts of arsenic and whatever, and because of course, what are they taking out half a mountain? To mine all this salt? No, they're coming up with other means of obtaining it and calling it whatever. Yeah. And turns out the stuff
your pink salt has red dye number or whatever in it.
Turns out the stuff that you get from the earth is actually the best. Yeah. The stuff you mine out of it. Of course, there's because table salt is just they've just gone through they call it ionized or whatever. Yeah. They just have a process for creating it.
So checking out Ethan Jablowski on YouTube and his 45-minute video deep dive of
Did you
salt.
say Chablowski?
Chablowski.
All right.
Yeah, we actually watched it in biology because it had some connections there, and it's super interesting. This guy does deep dives on all kinds of things, but the sea salt one or the salt one was particularly interesting.
Yeah, so basically at the end of all this, our point is that there's in our information age, there's just an abundance of opinions, and for the people I've never heard people so. I mean, I remember the vaccine conversation happening way long ago. I mean, I remember it feeling like a resurgence when we just got married. Because Kim was having conversations with my dad about vaccines and stuff like that, and so we were kind of selective going into Job, but Job has more than any of the other kids. But there's all these things that I don't think we should have the arrogance that we've now figured it out.
Yes.
But also wanting to make the best decisions with the information that and then also holding that loosely. Yeah. So I think I don't think you should approach someone who is drinking energy drinks on a daily basis as though they were someone that was addicted to crack cocaine. Yeah. That is not the same thing. Okay, maybe you could ease back on the energy drinks, but also just think of the stones that could be thrown back at you. What are you,
or the stones that you have to pass if you're on the drink?
Oh yeah. But how are we in terms of our well-ordered loves? Yeah. Where does this fit on the scale? Are we putting this above fellowship? Are we putting diet above fellowship?
Would it be safe to say that the most sure way to sin with what you take in is the quantity and not the quality?
I mean, I think because if we're taking scripture, I mean, I think I don't think we hear anything about. We hear about not making your brother stumble over meat sacrificed to idols, but we don't hear about.
I can think of
quality necessarily.
Taking care of your beast is one thing. So don't torture your cow to death if you're going to make hamburger
or torture it at all.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, exactly. So take care of it. Also, don't worship it.
Right.
And then what you're taking in is there's less consideration for that to be a sin than what is coming out. So if you are taking in the McDonald's burger that somebody brought you as a hey, here's I bought a couple extra. Here's a burger. taking that in with thankfulness instead of disdain,
right,
is the goal. Whereas, like, if you say, well, I don't believe in, pink paste burgers, but thanks for the offer for trying to kill me,
mechanically processed chicken.
Yeah. Mechanically separated.
Yeah. Mechanically
nuggets.
separated.
Yeah. Like that is a blessing that somebody's giving you. And unless you have a certain allergy because of, whatever.
Don't get me started on allergies.
Yeah.
Like there's way too many people that I'm not saying they're not real. It's just like, what is up?
Yeah.
What is going on?
What sin has brought us to the place where we are allergic to? Like, I remember asking my dad, like, do you remember anybody that was allergic to peanuts at your school, like, growing up?
Yeah.
Like, I never heard of that thing. Like, I don't even know. Like,
Right.
That's only a recent thing. So like, how are we sinning in other ways to make peanut butter a thing that we're now allergic to, or bread? We've had bread our entire lives, and people are like, yeah, we were never meant to eat bread. Well, yeah, we actually were. Like,
Yeah. Or, I mean, even alcohol. Have you heard about the whole, alcohol is poison? I mean,
oh yeah, I know. Rogan and others have brought up the alcohol is poison thing forever, and it's like, I mean, water's poison. You drink enough of it. I believe that most people have certain levels of different poisons that are just kind of like in your body. That they only become a problem when you actually have more of it.
And I think God gave us a liver for a reason.
Yeah.
And when that's abused, that has physical consequences.
Yeah.
But yeah, should you eat all bread and only alcohol? Like that's it's going to be a problem.
Exactly. Right.
So I don't want to say, because I don't think actually all things in moderation is a good thing to do in life. Like that can lead you into another ditch. But I do think self-discipline is a I think that is should be an attribute of a Christian man, that he is not given over to any of those things. You're like, well, I just love bread so much I have to eat it all the time.
I ate a loaf of bread for breakfast.
Yeah, legit. I mean, like, I think you'll you're going to be taking in way too many carbs and not enough protein. It does have some protein, but actually, I think protein from meat. We're meant to eat meat, and people that try to go without it completely have to take supplements to make up for that.
What about 3D printed meat?
Why? Why? I mean,
question answered there.
The Impossible Burger should be impossible.
Impossible,
just
absolutely.
Keep it impossible.
How will it be in heaven when things don't die? Do you think God's just going to create steak? Or are we going to be vegetarian?
Yeah, I can't see. I don't know. I don't see any reason to believe that it would be just vegetarian. I mean, other than the death aspect,
But I would be a lot more comfortable with the idea of God just being like, and then there was steak.
Yeah. Or
now we have brisket.
We have steak plants. And
totally.
we just grow steak.
Yep, totally.
Because I don't think we'll be minus work. Like, I think work is something that's built into us that God created us for.
Yeah.
But it'll just be completely pleasant and.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to having a garden where I don't have to worry about weeds or cutting down all the trees to create enough sunlight or whatever. That'd be great. I've always wanted a garden, but I think I'm going to wait till heaven.
There you go. Well, you don't get. I mean, at this point, you'd have to make one in on the beach, because that's the only place you get enough sunlight.
That's true. It's very true.
Or unless you count a moss patch. Again. You could probably start selling lichen online or something.
I can definitely do that. Speaking of good things,
this
we'll find out.
This name I'm gonna slaughter, Duchesse de Bourgogne.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it. Maybe that's why it was so cheap, because it says it expires 20 to, oh, it doesn't expire till May, so we're good.
All right, we're good.
I don't know why. That's weird to have an expiration, but the Belgians are very those of the country of Belgium are very because they're not Belgian people, right?
Or like hollandaise sauce.
Yeah. We're just gonna slaughter that.
Yeah.
So this was a gold medal World Beer Cup rated exceptional.
We'll be the judge of that.
Right. Exactly. Imported from Belgium.
And this is it's got a little cage on a cork.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see if Ian can punch a hole straight into our sprinkler head up above.
That would have been more exciting.
Yeah.
I will never forget a sabering I once witnessed.
Oh, really? An in-person sabering?
Well, it was by my father-in-law, and he had just come back from. He'd come back from a thing in Canada, and he was very confident.
Confidence is good.
Yes, and I still have the video. It was at the Marshman's place when they lived up here.
Oh, right on.
Because it was at a flower pot kitchen event thing. And he was teaching us, you got to do it with the back of the blade, and you got to do it that, and then he did it, and I had actually seen him do it before successfully, but on this occasion, it was snowy on the deck, and there was an explosion, and glass went everywhere, and I'll never forget it. Because what can you say other than, well, that's not how I expected that to go.
Guess we're not drinking that.
Yeah. Anyone want to take the risk of shards of glass?
Shards of glass in your drink.
So this is a sour ale. Smells delicious. Flemish sour ale.
I'm going with really good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to expect sour when you go into it, because
so this is the thing with sours is, I mean, I remember having a sour probably 15 years ago for the first time at a brew fest, and I was like, okay, it's not sour and it's also not good. And that was probably the next 5 or 6 sours I had were not sour and not good.
Right.
And then recently sours have made kind of, at least in my world, resurgence, and they're sour and they're amazing, and then they're also a little, they're all sour, but they like, have you heard of, like, I think a milkshake sour? Is that a thing? Or there's smoothie sour? What is it? I don't remember.
I don't know. There are milkshake like hazy IPAs where they like Skookum will do like a some sort of berry version, or but yeah, like it's very so it's got obviously dark malts because it's dark in color.
Yeah.
Almost looks like that. Oh shoot, what was that name? I think it was just last week that it was a lagered. Schwarzbier or something. I'm
not sure.
I'm just throwing out names now.
Yeah, but, I would do that.
Yeah,
most of the people that listen to this are like, oh, they're talking about beer. Time to fast forward.
Yeah, totally. I know, and they're still, maybe they caught this section right in the middle of their skipping ahead every 15 seconds. And they're like, oh, is that beer?
There it is.
No, keep skipping forward. Oh wow! As I'm flipping through pictures, I just came across some of our pictures from. We were in a skit the other night. We should post this one to the.
There you go. Nice. That one should totally go up.
Yeah. Who's that guy with that Coke hat on? Where did you get that hat?
I went to Ross. I think, a place I think I've been to twice in my entire life. Right. And I found that hat and some like gas station quality Pit Vipers, and then also some frogskin camo Ralph Lauren like Converse style low tops. for like $20.
Right.
And I was like, the rest is all just for the skit, but I love the the frog skin camo.
Yeah. So we played. I played the teacher, and we reenacted a plagiarism skit. Originally had. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the picture Josh has up there. It was originally played by Ashton Kutcher was in it. The teacher, I don't remember the actor's name, but he's a memorable SNL guy.
Yeah.
And then Amy, what's her name?
Poehler?
Yeah, because she's the Parks and Rec gal.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, a couple other notable people that originally did it. But yeah, that was fun. It was that Doppelbach. Why can't I remember the name of that? But that was dark in color.
Yep.
But it had some of those dark malts that gave it that similar color that this has.
So this is a Flemish sour, which is not like spit.
So is this in those big fooders or whatever?
That's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
This is one of the ones that we've been having lately at home are like fruited sours, and this one is very fruity. But what is a Flemish sour?
It's in Grok or Google.
I'm gonna Googleize this one.
Yeah, I didn't think AI would invade my life as much as it has, but okay, I can choose to search for a website, hope that website has accurate information, read the whole thing, and then see if it, like yesterday, I just wanted to know if we arrive early at the ferry, because we're bringing kids back from Orcas Island for the golf, because
because you have to schedule. Do you have to schedule that ferry?
Yeah.
And
I mean, at least if you want to guarantee a spot.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be waiting for the last ferry out of town. Especially with 9 high schoolers, which great kids, but you know, I just have other things that I want to be, like getting back before midnight.
Yeah.
So we're on the ferry and you still have self-service. And so I was like, we had kind of bounced around. Okay, do you think we'll be able to get on one if we arrive early, even though we reserved the later one because we assumed we wouldn't be able to make the earlier one? And so I just asked ChatGPT, I was like, hey, according to the San Juan ferry system, if you arrive early, should you be able to get on? And they said, yes. If there's room, then you should be able to get on. It just gave me a cogent answer back, and it's fielding all the information from all the appropriate sources. And maybe it's not 100% accurate, but I'm like, because it will say if it's like you might not. It'll give you a.
People have before been successful in that endeavor.
Right. So I don't know. I was just like, thank you. Like I don't have to go read because all those government websites.
Do you think AI? Do you think AI? Or do you ask it, please? Like, please give me this information?
No, I'll say, like, generate an image or, like...
Give it to me, you son of a motherless goat.
Just slap it. Sometimes, I did the conversational one the other day, and I was like, I feel like I should say thank you, because it feels like I'm talking to somebody.
I know.
When it's just in text, I'm like, okay, it's just a computer. But then the voice one sounds like a...
Good job. Good job, AI, on that answer.
Hey, we make a great team.
I want to make sure that you feel like this was a profitable thing for you and I to have this.
Send me the survey and I'll give you high marks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a funny thing.
It is weird. I think... just the way that AI has kind of invaded our life. I don't think it's going away.
No.
And even when you come, when you're talking about constitutional questions, is this something the government should get their hands in? They definitely want to.
They definitely want to. I think the government should keep their hands out of it as much as possible.
I think things go better that way.
Yep. Keep your hands off Bitcoin and and AI and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it will be screwed up, but there's a certain thing that gets screwed up whenever a government gets involved.
Right.
So it will not be perfect if man is running it, but it'll be it has potential for less evil if a government is not using it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
controlling it.
I mean, I was talking about this with my class the other day, where, I'm like, the government just, when you take out competition, like what Obamacare, I had to explain what Obamacare was.
Isn't that sad? Like, it's actually really affected us even to this day. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a bummer.
I remember it going down, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is gonna be these impacts are gonna be long.
Yeah.
Like,
I will not financially recover from this.
Right. I mean, because somebody was saying, like, look at who's profited from this.
Yeah.
And it's the healthcare companies.
Yeah. That middleman that was supposed to protect us is now like he's getting 2/3 of whatever we're paying on.
Yeah.
And
sure, there are some plans where people can pay $2 a month or whatever the heck those commercials say.
Yeah.
Still advocating for healthcare.gov or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just a horrible plan that introduced more government regulation, which strips out competition, which then just skyrockets price.
Yeah.
Price always goes up when government gets involved.
Oh, yeah.
When you take out competition, the quality drops off and the prices go up.
We should get our buddy Jubal Marlatt on, talk about his new endeavor.
Healthcare. Yeah. We might have to record in a different room.
Yeah, he's too long for this
unless
room.
He's gonna sit on your lap.
Yeah. Hey, Jubal, I'm just saying, if it sells it to you,
right,
you can come sit on my lap and we'll share a mic together.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be a worthy conversation, and he's doing good things even here in Marysville.
Yeah.
So, was there anything else that was flopping around your brain?
Yeah, a lot flopping around. There's space to flop around in that cranial cave.
Right.
I saw something, like, I am all this stuff with, ATF and all the whatever that's coming down has not been overwhelmingly wonderful.
Hold on.
All right. The camera does not like the face.
Yeah, so, the continual struggles with equipment and trying to make do with equipment that we already have. So, camera decided to overheat. So I'm like, well, there you go. ChatGPT, how do you fix that? But what did you get started on?
Oh, I was trying to get started on the Duncan V. Bonta thing, which is essentially a magazine ban. So,
was that related to the judge? That the judge was going off on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was explaining. Well, let's see here. How will I do this? Oh, here we go. Kicking cameras.
Kicking cameras. Sounds like a band.
Yeah. So one of the things that the judge was explaining was this magazine ban that currently, the way the law sits in California, and I think in other states, a couple other states, is that they're banning magazines over 10 or over 15 or over 20 or over 7 rounds, and they're calling them high capacity magazines. And there's just not any intelligence on the matter. Like, there's not a lot of the gun side of things aren't explaining things well for the non-gun side of things, and so this judge came out. His name is Lawrence Van Dyke, in the Ninth Circuit, I believe.
Yep.
He is clearly a gun guy.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
He really does know what he's like. This would be a guy I could sit around and get some information on, and I feel like I have a pretty good background.
I mean, when he starts talking about aggressive stippling and stuff like
exactly, like he takes a, I don't know, it's like a reusable yoga mat bag and dumps like 20 frames onto
Here's
his
just
desk.
a couple that I've acquired.
Yeah,
over the
I'm
years.
like, I have respect for you, young man. So one of the things, this is a great thing about video. Right now, I am carrying something that is legal in the state of Washington. I've got my little Glock 43 that is stippled mildly and has a compensator on it that can also it's probably illegal. I don't know. I don't think it's probably grandfathered in, but you probably can't build a gun like this now. But it has a compensator on it, and then it's got a standard capacity magazine with an extension. So standard capacity is what just comes with a gun. I don't care what anybody says. It is what is the common use. And so for this particular gun, it is 6 rounds with a 2-round extension that makes 8 rounds. This is a legal magazine in the state because I think it's limited at 10 rounds now. I don't even know. I sold off my 10-round magazines to a Californian several years ago.
But so the compensator helps with recoil, like keep your muzzle more level.
It does. I bought it just because I got a suppressor that I could put on it, and I didn't really care about the compensation. And actually, I've never put a suppressor on it, and the compensation's pretty nice for a little tiny gun like this. So the magazine, you can get like in probably in your Glock is 15 rounder or something like that.
You can't get at that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be like probably your starting point for a Glock 19. And so that's illegal now in Washington State unless you had it beforehand, or they don't know that you bought magazines out of state. Yeah, nobody I know has ever done that.
No, theoretical.
Yeah, but this Judge Van Dyke basically just states how the argument for the California ban is that it's an accessory and therefore not a firearm, and therefore they can regulate it any which way. And so he just destroys that in this video. That will these laws will probably be changing in the next 4 years, even though I don't have a high expectation of a lot of things changing that way.
You don't have high level of confidence in Pam Bondi?
I don't, not at all. But I think it's just going to be one of those things that's just so abundantly obvious they're going to have to change.
Right.
So because there's just a lot of things that are, one law says that suppressors are a firearm, and then the other law says that they are not. And so both laws say, guess what? The government can control them. And so with magazines, you can get magazines that are, depending on the gun, all the way up to 100 rounds. You can get belt-fed ones that are 200 rounds. And so his argument is, if these are an accessory that they can just name, hey, this is it's not. It doesn't need. It can make it more dangerous. He goes through and is like, well, you could put an optic on it that makes it more dangerous. It is more dangerous if it's a bad guy running it, or it's more dangerous if it's a good guy running it towards bad guys. 15 rounds can be more dangerous if it's coming from a bad guy. It can also make everybody more safe if it's coming from a good guy. And he basically just went through in this like 15-minute video with an intelligent argument that was very informative. If you don't understand the difference between a high capacity magazine and a low capacity magazine, and you just need to know a little bit more information, man, this video is fantastic. It's probably one of the best videos I've ever seen put out, just with common sense destroying these arguments that we've had to butt our heads up against for decades. So it was probably the most encouraging thing in the gun scene I've seen in years. So
yeah, and the whole argument, I mean, it's just based on basically I mean, freedom is dangerous.
Yeah.
So sure it could be in the hands of a bad guy, but shouldn't our laws enable our people to protect themselves first?
Yeah.
Because by nature of the fact that they're a criminal, they're going to keep criminalizing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so they're going to ignore whatever laws are in place. And, you're going to count on the fact that you're a really good shot, with that 5 rounds or whatever. Like, even if you are a really good shot, not everybody goes down with a good shot, like
some people that are breaking the law are also breaking the law by being on methamphetamines.
Right. It's like just because you cut the head off a chicken doesn't mean they stop moving.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
They can do some crazy harm just all amped up on whatever drugs are on.
Yeah.
So I think getting that type of information into the hands of your non-gun nerdy people is critical. And, I don't think, like a T-Rex puts out a lot of good content, but they're for the gun nerds. Like, I don't think your average person is going to stumble across that and, oh, this is interesting. Like, I don't even know what they're talking about, especially, Lucas is going to just talk in a way that is very
autistic,
gun nerdy. And, so your average person is not going to consume a lot of that content. So I think that is a space that still needs people to be that cares and that can communicate effectively to the that guy. I mean, he was using some very specific terms, but you didn't need to know all those terms to understand what he was saying. Yeah.
He did a really good job of roller coastering his whole thing, where he was hitting the high points and also coming down low to bring people into the conversation. Yeah. So,
like cueing somebody like you in that, like, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Enough to give him credibility, but then also just going back to principles and things like that everybody could relate to. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that's something that we need to break into more, in terms of just, I don't know. I talk to people that just from various workplaces I've been at and stuff that, like, they just feel bad, like, supporting guns because it feels bad and people tell them they're bad. Yeah. It's like, what? No. Like, why would you, like, even talking with some of my own family, and, they're kind of on the fence. Maybe I'll get a gun, maybe not. And I'm like, well, the way I think about it is, how would I feel if somebody broke into my house and assaulted, molested my people? Yeah. And, I mean, obviously I would take up whatever implement that I had. Yeah.
And so might as well have the best thing you can possibly have.
Yeah. What do we call it? A force multiplier. Yeah. I mean, because who's to say it's, not, like, it could be more than one person and it could be outnumbered.
Yeah. We're seeing that more and more and more.
Yeah. Like we've been, our borders have been overrun by gangs, like, so they're traveling in packs. They're I make them sound like coyotes, but
yeah. But I mean, depending on who they're bringing across the border,
right?
That maybe
right. So, why wouldn't you have the most amount of force legally available to you and financially available to you? I think anything you want to get that the government can get should be available. Yeah. Your only, threshold should be cost. Yeah. And that cost is just nature of development
and not taxes.
Right. And not
you shouldn't be taxed out of your ability to have a right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we moved the needle at all, but just working some of these things out, sometimes even for our own good, we just got to get it on the table. And I don't know, it's like, bread, like it needs to be kneaded. Yeah. The K kind of needed, not the, longing heart type of needed, but
I have a longing heart in my stomach for bread,
for bread and booze. Yeah. So yeah, every time we talk, I feel like defiance and obedience fits better than it ever has, and
the camera's defiant and obedient.
It's beeping at us. It's saying it's way too hot in here. Yep. So we're gonna wrap it up, but hey, however you need to implement defiance and obedience into one inseparable whole, do that. Make your heart and life and passions more aligned than ever with who God wants you to be, and take your people along with you, and God will bless that.
For sure. And thanks for watching us or listening to us.
Yeah, and watching all the blunders along the way.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Contraritics. Tune in next time for another dose of guns, beer, and contrarianism.